All right, so first thing is, how is everyone? Just like put a reaction in chat like every other time we've done this. All right. So it looks like, at least for the people who responded, that they're good. Last year there is a class next Sunday, or Sunday. That's going to be the final class, barring if I choose to do a college application class the week after that. I will get back to you guys with more information next week. Again, this is just an idea. I'm thinking about doing it, but it isn't confirmed. So today we'll be doing math, SAT math, since I wanted to finish up with math before we had next week to just review. So basically, I might be doing an extra class after next week, of which I just talk about college admissions and what's the process for it. And yeah, so I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna do it, but so far it seems like I'm gonna do it. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's gonna be done, but there's the chance that I will do it. So today we'll be doing circle theorems first. So what are circle theorem problems? So circle theorem problems are all about finding out the arc length, sector area, and angles in circles. And basically you have to find relationships between arc length, sector areas, and angles in circles to find, I guess, other data given from like data that's given. So say you're given sector areas, find arc lengths, or angles in circles, find arc lengths, and stuff like that. So how do you use central angles to calculate arc lengths and sector areas? So there's a relationship between central angles, arc lengths, and sector areas. So you don't need to remember the formulas for the circumference and the circle area of a circle for the SAT. And like last week, all of the information is provided at the beginning of the SAT math section. And yeah, so the information provided is a central angle in a circle is formed by two radii. And the angle lets us define a portion of the circle's circumference, an arc, or a portion of the circle's area, a sector. So let me just get my writing tool up. So this is your angle, this is your sector, and this is your arc. And all three of these are related. And when given one, you can find the others as well. So the relationship between a central angle, arc length, and sector area. So the number of degrees in a circle is 360. And since the circumference and in the area both describe the full 360-degree arc of a circle, we can set up proportional relationships between parts and wholes of any circle to solve for the missing values. So here's a formula which I guess does that. So when you have central angle over 360 degrees is equal to the arc length over the circumference is equal to the sector area over the whole circle area. How do you find angle measures in circles? So sometimes we'll be asked to apply our knowledge of angle relationships to angles within a circle. In addition to like common angle relationship theorems, the questions will also ask us to use two important circle related facts. The first we've covered in like last week. The sum of central angles met in a circle is 360 degrees. The second is all radii have the same length. Any triangle which contain two radii is an isosceles triangle. And for example, the figure to the right, OA and OC are radii of the circle. So OA and OC are equivalent. OA being this, and OC being this. And those two are equivalent because they're both radii. Triangle AOC is an isosceles triangle, and the measures of OAC and OCA are both 30 degrees. OCA, 1 second. OCA being this angle, 1 second, let me just clear all of this. OCA being this angle, and OAC being this angle. So here is, I guess, a question for you guys to do. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this, and then I'll do it myself. Again, just put your answers in the chat after you get it. And if you don't know how to do it, again, just put in the chat the please, I guess, explain or something that tells me that you just don't know how to do it versus you're taking time to do it. Right? Does anyone else need more time to do this, or should I start doing it? It doesn't look like anyone else needs more time to do this. So I guess I'll do the first one. So what fraction of the area of the entire circle is the area of the shaded region? So you have your formula, central area, I mean, not area, angle over 360 is equivalent to sector area, A over circle area, circle A. And when you plug in your values that you're given, 150 being the central angle, so 150 over 360 is equivalent to sector A over circle A. Then when you do, I guess, the math, it should give you 5 over 12 equals to sector A over circle A. So the area of the shaded region is 5/12 of the area of the whole circle. So 5/12 is the answer. Right? For the other question, let's erase all this. Right. So for the area of the other set, for the other question, the formula that you need to know is arc length over circumference is equivalent to sector area over circle area. So you have 10, which is the length of the minor arc. So 10 over circumference is equal to 5 over 12 because we just got sector area over circle area. And then when you multiply this by 12, so multiply both sides by 12, you get and then you multiply this side by C as well. C times C, you get 20 or no, wait, no, I did that wrong. Right. So you're given, the values in arc length is 10 over circumference, which I'll call C, is equal to 5 over 12. So you multiply C on both sides times C. Then you get 10 equals to 5 over 12C. And then you divide by 5 over 12, which is the same thing as multiplying by 12 over 5. And when you do that, you get C equals to 24. Any questions? No? Right. So what are circle equations? So we describe circles in the xy plane using equations in terms of x and y. Circle equation questions require us to understand the connection between these equations and the features of the circle. So for representing a circle in the xy plane, just like the equations for lines and parabolas, the standard form equation of a circle tells us about the circle's features. In the xy plane, a circle or let me go back. Someone had a question for this. So the answer over, I'm gonna guess you're asking why we're multiplying 10 by 12 over 5 when you're doing 5 over 12c, right? Divided by 5 over 12. So when you divide by I guess a value, you can multiply the opposite side by the opposite. So dividing by 5 over 12 is the same thing as multiplying by 12 over 5. If that makes sense. So yeah, in the xy plane, a circle with the center hk and radius r has the equation x minus h whole squared plus y minus k whole squared equals to r squared. And for example, the circle to the right has a center located at 1, 2 and a radius of 3. For h equals to 1, k equals to 2, and r equals to 3, the equation would be x minus 1 squared plus y minus 2 squared plus 3 squared, which gives us this circle right here, because the radius right here is 3, and this is 1, 2. Let me just up here. So rewriting circles equations in standard form by completing the square. So the standard form equation of a circle contains the squares of 2 binomials. So sometimes we'll be asked to determine the center or radius of a circle represented by an equation in which the squares of the binomials are expanded. So for example, we'll use the expanded equation x squared plus 2x plus y squared minus 10x plus 22 equals to 0 to guide us through how to rewrite the expanded equation in standard form. So first thing we have to do is we have to make sure that the x squared and y squared are both, the coefficients of the x squared and y squared are both 1. In this case, they are, because there's nothing in front of them. And for most questions that require completing the square in the SAT, the coefficients will be 1. And then next, we need to find the constants that complete the square for x and for y. So for x, this means we have to find like the constant that when added to x squared plus 2x, lets us rewrite the expression as the square of a binomial. So the coefficient for I guess one sec, let me just think. One sec. How exactly should I explain this? So okay, yeah. So the simplest way of doing this is to remember that the constant term of the binomial is equivalent to 1/2 the coefficient of the x or the y term. So a constant that and the constant that needs to be added to complete the square is equivalent to the square of 1/2 the coefficient. So the coefficient of the x term is 2. Right here, you see right here, the x term is 2, and therefore the constant has to be 2 over 2 squared is equivalent to 1. So to complete the square for the x term, you get x squared plus 2x plus 1 is equivalent to, I believe, x plus 1 squared. And for the coefficient of the y term is -10 right here. So the way you do that is you have the coefficient -10 over 2, because it has to be 1/2 squared equals to 25. And to complete the square, you have y squared minus 10y plus 25 is equivalent to y minus 5 squared. And now we can rewrite the equation as x squared plus 2x plus 1 plus y squared minus 10y plus 25 plus 25 plus 22 is equivalent to 0 plus 1 plus 25. Because remember, when you add stuff to one side, you have to add it to the other side as well, because you have to balance the equations. And that is equivalent to x plus 1 squared plus y minus 5 squared plus 22 is equal to 26. And now we have both completed squares. You do x plus 1 squared plus y minus 5 squared is equivalent to 4 because you subtract 22 on both sides. And that is your equation for the circle. X plus 1 squared plus y minus 5 squared is equal to 4. Any questions? And this equation represents a circle with the center at 1, -1 and 5, and a radius of 2 with r equals to 2. Because remember, it's r squared on this side. So here is a question for you guys to do. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this, and then I'll do it myself. And again, if you just don't know how to do it, then just say in chat that, could you please explain, or something like that. So I know that people don't know how to do it versus people are still doing it. Also, I don't think I gave the slides for today. I'm sorry about that. Here is a link to a Google Sheets, which has all of the slides within them. And again, when you guys get your answer, just put it in the chat so I know that people got it. Or if you don't know, just say I don't know. Right? Does anyone else need more time? Right? Doesn't look like anyone asked for time. So the way you do this problem is, first thing we want is the circle has to be entirely in quadrant 1. So quadrant 1 is this quadrant in a graph. And the answer to this one is A, because the circle or the equation represents a circle with the center point at 6, 5. Because remember, you have to go for the opposite of whatever this value is, which means it's like somewhere over here. And the radius is 4 because 16 square root of 16 is 4. So r equals to 4. And in that, when you go 4 down, you're still within the first quadrant. So therefore, the answer is A. Any questions? No? Right. So what are complex numbers? So the square roots of negative numbers are not real numbers. Instead, they're imaginary numbers. And we use the notation I to indicate the square root of -1. And all imaginary numbers are real number multiples of I. So a complex number then has the form A plus BI, where A is the real component and BI is the imaginary component. Do we learn what? Complex numbers or the circle theorems? I'm not entirely sure exactly when you learn it, but I feel like complex numbers are touched in Algebra 1 at the end of the unit. And I'm pretty sure they would be in Algebra 2 as well. All right, so adding and subtracting complex numbers. So we treat complex numbers like binomials when adding and subtracting them. And this means that we need to combine like terms, real with real and imaginary with imaginary, and write the result in the form a plus bi. So for example, what is the sum of 3 plus 2i and 5 plus 7i? So the way you do this problem is you want to sum these two together. So you do 3 plus 2i plus 5 plus 7i, and you add these two terms together and these two terms together. So you get 8 plus 9i as your answer. So yeah, I heard someone say that I see someone said they learned it in Algebra 2. So it might be in Algebra 2. I distinctly remember it being in Algebra 1 at the end of the unit, but that could just be my teacher putting it in as extra work versus it actually being in the curriculum. So yeah. Whoops. So multiplying complex numbers. Both multiplying and dividing complex numbers make use of the fact that since I is equal to square root of 1, then I squared is equal to -1. And to multiply two complex numbers, you multiply the two numbers using FOIL, as you would when multiplying two binomials. And the result looks like a quadratic expression in the terms of I. So you have to replace I squared with -1. And this changes the I squared term into a real number term. And then you have to combine like terms and write the result in the form a plus bi. So what is the product of 3 plus 2i and 5 plus 7i? So the way you do this is you're given 3 plus 2i and 5 plus 7i, and you're supposed to find out the result. So you have 3 times 5, I'm just going to put parentheses around everything, plus 3 times 7i plus 2i times 5 plus 2i times 7i. So this turns out to be 15 plus 21i plus 10i plus 14i squared. And when you combine like terms, you get 15 plus 31i plus 14i squared. And when you replace the I squared term with -1, you get 15 plus 31i plus -14. And then when you combine like terms there, you get 1 plus 31i as your answer. Any questions? No? All right. So dividing complex numbers. So to divide two complex numbers, if necessary, first write the division as a rational expression with the dividend in the numerator and the divisor in the denominator. So you multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the rational expression of the rational expression. 2i times 7i is 14i squared. So you get to this point. So I believe you got to 15 plus 31i plus 14i squared, right? All right, so remember, when I squared is equivalent to -1. So you have 15 plus 31i plus 14 times -1. And then you just do your, you combine like terms. So you get 1 plus 31i. You still have a question? All right. So yeah, you have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator of the rational expression by the complex conjugate of the denominator. The complex conjugate of a complex number is the same real component and the opposite imaginary component. So the complex conjugate of 3 plus 2i is 3 minus 2i. And what I mean by rational expression, if you guys don't know, is like blah, blah, blah over blah, blah, blah. It could be like a over b or whatnot. And you have to find the product of the denominator and the conjugate from step 2. This result should be a complex number. You have to find the product of the denominator and the conjugate of step 2. This result should be a real number because multiplying a complex number by its conjugate eliminates the imaginary terms. And then you have to divide the result of step 3 by the result of step 4. and write the quotient in the form of a plus bi. So for example, for if a is equivalent to 4 minus 3i and b is equivalent to 2 plus i, what is a divided by b? So you write this as 4 minus 3i over 2 plus i. And the complex conjugate of 2 plus I is 2 minus I. So you multiply both of these by 2 minus I over 2 minus I. Oops, 2 minus I. And when you do this, you get 2 minus I plus 2 times 2 plus I. So that is equivalent to 4 minus 2i plus 2i minus I squared. And multiplying 4 minus 3i times 2 minus I is 8 minus I, 4i plus 4i plus 3i squared. And then when you combine like terms, you should get 4 minus I squared on the bottom. I'm just gonna write this over here. So you should get 4 minus I squared on the bottom. And on the top, you should get 5 minus 10i. And remember, I squared is -1. So you have 4 minus -1, which is just 4 plus 1. So you get 5 minus 10i over 5, which is equivalent to 1 minus 2i. Any questions? And that is your answer. No questions? All right. So here is a question for you guys to do. I'll give you guys 2 minutes and then I'll do it myself. And again, if you don't know how to do it, just say I don't know how to do it. There's no problem with that. Again, you just this is literally just a class. It's not the actual SAT. And if you do get an answer, just put it in the chat so I know you got your answer. Right? Does anyone else need more time, or should I start solving it? Right, I'll give you guys another minute. And again, for the people who came in after I said this, so I have a YouTube channel with all the classes from like videos of all the classes. One sec, let me just get it again. But here is a link to it. Whoops. Here's a link to a YouTube channel with all of the classes in it. And actually, no, it's not all the classes yet. We're still in the process of putting them in. It's called SAT/ACT tutoring for beginners, I believe. But yeah, so it would be nice if you guys subscribed as well. Again, that is entirely optional, but it would be nice. So yeah, it looks like everyone who needed more time has answered it. So for this question, you need to find the sum of A and B. And remember, that is literally just adding two binomials together. It's the same thing. So you have 7 minus 3i plus 2 plus I. Combine like terms. So you have 7 plus 2, so 9, and negative 3 plus I, negative 3i plus I, so minus 2i. That is your answer for the first one, 9 minus 2i. And for the second one, you're doing subtraction instead of addition. So you have 2 plus I. Remember, it's 2 plus I because it's B minus I versus A minus I, minus 7 minus 3i. Again, parentheses on both sides. So you have 2 plus I minus 1 times 7 minus 1 times 3i. And I guess that really doesn't matter. It's 2 plus I minus 7 plus 3i. And you combine like terms at this point. So you have negative 5 plus 4i as your answer. Any questions? Plus here. No? All right. So yeah, any questions about what we've done so far in the lecture? I guess you can. Yeah. Usually you can't because when you subtract numbers differently, it gives you negative, but I believe you can. For this one, I'm not sure. But yeah, any questions? No? Right, so you have practice problems now. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this one and then I'll do it myself. And again, like always, put your answer in the chat after you get it, so I know you guys got it. And if you don't know how to do it, just say I don't know. Right, does anyone else need more time? Don't be afraid to say you need more time. This isn't a time test first. And yeah. Right, doesn't look like anyone else is asking for more time. All right, so you have you want to find out what the value of x is, given that the shaded area is 3/8 of the area of the circle, and x right here is the central angle. So you have your formula central angle. I'm just gonna call it CA over 360 degrees because that's the overall degrees in a circle, is equivalent to sector area sec A over circle area circ A. So you have x, which is your central angle, over 360 degrees, is equivalent to 3/8 because the shaded area is 3/8 of the total area. So when you do that, you multiply both sides by 360. And when you do all the math for it, I believe this is a calculator question. You should get x equals to 135 degrees. Or it's not even degrees, it's just x equals to 135 because you're already given a degree. So 135. Any questions? No? Moving on. Here's another question. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this one. Right. Do you guys need more time? Or again, if you don't know how to do it, just say, I don't know. Right, doesn't look like anyone else needs more time. So for this one, we're trying to find out what is the value of x, which is a central angle right here, given that AC is the diameter of the circle. So we know that OB, the line OB, and the line OC are both radii of the circle because they go from the central angle x to the edge of the circle. And this means that triangle BOC, so this one is an isosceles triangle, and the measure of OBC right here will be 25 degrees. And since because this angle is also 25 degrees here, and since AC is the diameter, AOB, the angle AOB, I'm gonna erase what I wrote in the circle. And since angle AOB, so AOB would be this one, and BOC, angle BOC would be this one, are supplementary angles because this is a straight line that goes across. That means they have to add up to 180. And since the measure of BOC, so since we know that there is 180 degrees overall, and you have to subtract 25 degrees twice, then you should get 130 degrees as your measure of BOC. And to find the measure of AOB, which is this one, the one we want to find, you do 180 minus 130 to get 50. Because what we calculated over here is this angle right here beforehand, and then we calculated the x value. So 50 is your answer. Any questions? This class ends at 1, or I'm not sure what your exact time is because you could be in a different time zone, but this class ends in 45 minutes. Okay, and there's another approach of doing this. So since AOB is the exterior angle of BOC, let me just erase everything that I have here. Since AOB, again, this angle is the exterior angle of BOC, which is this one. That means x is equivalent to the sum of the measures of the other two angles in the triangle BOC. So you have this plus this. So since it's an isosceles triangle, we know these two have to be equivalent. So this is also 25 degrees. So you have 25 plus 25 equals to 50. That's just a knee trick. Right. Moving on. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this one, and then I'll do it myself. Also, yeah, someone said in chat that the inscribed angle is always half of the center. So it has to be 50 as well. That's another reason why. But yeah, here is another question for you guys to do. Again, just put your answer in the chat after you get it. All right. Does anyone else need more time? No? All right. So the way you do this problem is, again, you have to, the formula that central angle CA is over 360 degrees is equivalent to arc length over circumference. And so we plug in the values that we know. So we know that the central angle is 120 degrees. So 120 over 360 is equivalent to x over pi, 12 pi, because the circumference is 12 pi. And when you do the math, you multiply by 12 pi on both sides. Oops, not 21. 12 pi times. You should end up. Also, this becomes 1/3 because 120 is 1/3 of 360. So that is equivalent to 4 pi is x. So A. Any questions? No? All right. Here is another problem for you guys to do. I'll give you guys a minute because this is a relatively easier problem to do. And it looks like everyone who's answered it has got it right. All right. So the way you do this problem is we're given that a circle in the xy plane has a center of 3/4. Has a center of 3, 4, and a radius of 5. and we're trying to find out which of the following is an equation of that circle. The answer to this one is D, and the reason for that is you have -3, so you need a positive, so A gets crossed out because you need +3 here. So to C, and you have -4, so the second one also has to be positive, so B and D both satisfy that, and you have a radius of 5, and the value on this side has to be r squared. So B gets crossed out because 5 is not r 5 squared, and 25 is 5 squared, so therefore D is your answer. Any questions? No? All right, next question. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this one, and then I'll do it myself. Again, remember, it's asking for the diameter, not radius. I saw a couple people just put the radius. And remember, diameter is 2 times radius, not radius squared. And this problem is a good example of why you guys should read a bit more carefully, because this question got a bunch of you got it wrong because you didn't read it correctly. I'll give you guys another minute to do this one, and then I'll do it myself. And for the question in the chat, yes, it is. Because remember the formula. You have to remember the formula for this one. Give you guys another minute. All right, so for this one, a lot of people got this wrong. I'm guessing due to multiple reasons: not reading the question right, and I guess just forgetting the formula. So remember, the formula for the standard form of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is the equivalent to r squared. So 6, first of all, 6 is squared. Before we do anything else, 6 is a squared number. So to find out the radius, we first square root 6 because that's what r is. So square root 6 is r, but we're trying to find the diameter, which is 2 times r, because diameter is 2r, or not r squared, 2r. So you do 2 times square root 6, which is b. Any questions? No? All right. It shouldn't be d because remember, 6 is r squared. So we need square root 6 is r. R is square root 6. And diameter is 2r because 2 times r is diameter. So then you do 2 times square root 6, which is b. Because remember, 2 times the square root doesn't make it the non-square root version, or if you got a or whatever. And yeah, I think you just forgot to square root the r, which is 6 in this case. Here's another question. I'll give you guys a minute to do this one, and then I'll do it myself. Or I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this one. This one's a bit longer. And again, just put your answer in the chat after you get it. Again, if you don't know how to do this, just say I don't know. Or if you got your answer, just put it in the chat. Right, does anyone else need more time? Don't be afraid to ask for more time. Again, this isn't the actual SAT. It isn't time. You don't need to, I guess, really pay attention to how long you're taking on this. Of course, it's always good to maintain a certain amount of time on a problem, but this is just practice, so it doesn't really matter. All right, it looks like one person needs another minute. This is, I'm gonna say, a completing the square problem, and now I'll start doing it. So I will say this: every single person who's answered it in the chat has got it wrong, and I'm thinking it's because you guys didn't complete the square beforehand. I'm not entirely sure why, but yeah. So your standard form of an equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals to r squared. And so remember, to find out the extra constant that you need to complete the square, you take 1/2 of this and square it. So you have 6/2 squared is equivalent to 9. So you have x plus 6x, x squared plus 6x plus 9 is the same thing as x plus 3 squared. So to find out the constant that we need for y, you take 1/2 of this and square it. So 4/2 squared is equivalent to, or negative 4/2 actually, is equivalent to 4. So you have y squared minus 4y plus 4, which is the same thing as y minus 2 squared. Y minus 2 squared. And now that you have that, you do x squared plus 6x plus y squared is equivalent minus 4y is 3. So when you add in everything else that we have, you have x squared plus, I'm going to add it right here, 9 plus, and 4 plus as well, plus 4. And that's equivalent to x minus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 2, plus 4 plus 9, which is 16. So equals to 16, which is 4 squared rather. 4 squared, and since h is -3 and k is -2, then the coordinates of the circle is no, not -2. This is +2 here. Or no, what am I saying? Minus, and then this is plus. And since h is 3, because remember it's the negative of whatever you have here, and k is 2, it's -3 here because this is plus, then therefore your answer is B. Do the people who've answered in the chat know why they got it wrong? Or is there like a specific place that I need to explain again, specific part? I have one person who said yes. What about the rest of the people who answered the question? All right. So next question. Is this, yeah, it's the next question. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this one, and then I'll do it myself. Again, read this one carefully. This one is trying to trick you with words. I'll give you guys another minute to do this. Again, just put your answer in the chat after you get it. And if you don't know how to do it, just say, I don't know. All right. Does anyone else need more time, or should I start answering it now? Right. It doesn't look like anyone else needs more time. So we want to find out what the complex conjugate of the denominator is. So remember, when you want the complex conjugate of an imaginary number, you do the same real number. So 4 stays the same. And you do the opposite of the imaginary number. So plus 2i. So the answer for this one is 4 plus 2i. So now you're given some information that the product of the numerator and the complex conjugate of the denominator is 18 plus 4i. The thing is, it's asking for the product of the denominator and its complex conjugate. So this entire part of the question is useful. It's just useless. So you should probably cancel, cross it out, or do something so you know that you don't need it. So it's asking us what 4 minus 2i times 4 plus 2i is. And when you FOIL it out, you get 4 times 4. Whoops, 4 times 4 plus 4 times 2i plus negative 2i times 4 plus a negative 2i times 2i. These two cancel out. So you get 16 plus 4i squared. And remember, you do wait, no, it's minus 4i squared. And remember, I squared is negative 1. So you get 16 plus 4. So that's 20. The answer is 20. Any questions? No? All right. Here's another problem. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this one. All right, didn't I put this one already? I believe I have, actually. Whatever, it's good review, I guess. All right, so for this one, the way you do this is you're given 13 minus 5i plus 2 minus 6i. So I'll add like terms, 15, subtract like terms, I guess, minus 11i. So D. That one's simple and easy. All right. Here's another problem. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this one. Yes. Again, just put answer in the chat after you get it. We've got another minute. All right, it looks like everyone who's answered it has got it right. Do you guys want me to explain this problem, or do you guys want to move on? I will put in the answer, and if you guys, either way. So the answer to this one is 15. Do you guys want me to explain why, or just move on? All right, so the answer to this one's 15 because when you have you want to FOIL out 2 minus I times 5 plus 5i. So you have 2 times 5 plus 2 times 5i minus, plus negative I times 5 plus negative I times negative 5i. So that's 10 plus 10i minus 5i plus minus 5i squared. So 10, so it would be 10 plus 5i minus 5i squared, but I squared is just -1. So you have -5 times -1. So you have 10 plus 5i plus 1. Oh no, plus 5. And then so you have 15 plus 5i. And you want to find out what a is. And a is the first term, so 15. Any questions? No? All right. Or it's -5 times -1. Remember, there's a negative right here. So you have that. Here's a lot. This question is a lot harder. This is probably one of the harder questions to do. But actually, yeah, it is probably one of the harder questions to do. I'll give you guys 5 minutes to do this. And if you don't know, just say, I don't know. But try solving it. This is an example of like one of the harder questions that we would do, that you would have in the SAT. Again, just put your answer in the chat after you get it. And if you don't, just say, I don't know. And it's always okay to guess. I mean, on the SAT, if you don't know a problem, you just guess it at the end if you don't have time. I'll give you guys another minute. And don't be afraid to say, I don't know. This is a harder question for sure. The only reason I know how to do this is because I had to practice these types of problems because I kept getting them wrong in the actual SAT when practice tests when I did them. So yeah. Do you guys want more time or should I start explaining it now? All right, more time it is. So there's one more problem after this I want to do, which is also pretty hard. So I'll give you guys another up to 3 more minutes. So I have time to explain it and we can do the last problem as well. And if you guys are taking for a long time on this one, I would say just skip it and move on in an actual SAT. There's no point in spending this much time on one question without and risk you not solving another one. But yeah, does anyone else need more time? The one person who asked finished and put their answer. Right, looks like no one else needs more time. So the way you do this problem is you have your equation 3 minus 5i over 8 plus 2i. First thing you want to do is get rid of the imaginary number in the denominator. So you multiply both by 8 minus 2i over 8 minus 2i. And when you do that, you would get 3 minus 5i times 8 minus 2i, which is equivalent to, so you have 8 times 3 minus or plus 3 times negative I minus 5i times 8 minus 5i times negative 2i. And when you do that out, you get 24 minus 6i minus 40i plus 10i squared, which is the same thing as 24 minus 46i minus 10i squared, which is or plus 10i squared. But you remember I squared is -1, so this becomes minus 10 again. And when you combine your like terms, you get 14 minus 46i. And now our fraction, when you do 8 plus 2i minus times 8 minus 2i, that's just 68. I mean 64 or 68, yeah. Because when you multiply them all, you get 68. And you have that. And now our fraction is 14 minus 46i over 68, which is equivalent to 14 over 68 minus 46i over 68, which is equivalent to 7 over 34, because you just divide both these by 2, and these 2 by 2 as well, minus 23i over 34. Any questions? None? All right. Last question for today. Here is a question. Again, this is literally just completing the square. If you guys know how to complete the square, you should be able to get this. The answer to the previous one is C. The answer is C. I mean, this one is completing the square. If you guys get this, that should be it for today. Give you guys another 3 minutes. Again, just put your answer in the chat after you get it. give you guys another minute. Again, just put your answer in the chat after you get it, or say I don't know if you just don't know how to do it. All right. So the way you do this problem is you complete the square, as I said multiple times already. So you have, I'm just going to rearrange this to make it easier on myself. X squared plus 4x plus y squared minus 2y equals to 1. And you want to complete the square. So you take this term, you take 1/2 of it squared. So x 1/2. So 4 over 2 squared is equal to 4. So you have x squared plus 4x plus 4, which is the same thing as x plus 2 squared. And remember, you have to add it on this side as well. And you take half of this squared. So negative 2 over 2 squared is equivalent to 1. So you have y squared minus 2y plus 1. And when you do that, you also have to add 1 here. And that is equivalent to y minus 1 squared. So you have your equation x plus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared is equivalent to, is it 6, I believe? Or no, it's 4. It's 4 because this is actually, make that -1. No, this one's positive. It's -1 here. It's 4. And when you square root 4, because you want the radius, square root of 4 is 2. The answer is A. Any questions? No? All right. So that is it for this class. Next class, we'll just be reviewing everything that we've done over the last 20 weeks. It's been 20 weeks, so that's quite a lot of time. And yeah, that's really it. The YouTube channel has the links to has videos of all of the previous classes if you missed any. Well, not all of them, but most of them. And I'll get the rest of them up sometime today. Here is a link to it for you guys. Other than that, that's it. That's it for today's class.